Welcome, Meg. So, Meg is an e-commerce consultant and the founder of Southside Plants. Meg began her company as an e-commerce brand in 2018 by launching multiple products in the lawn and garden niche. And she developed innovative houseplant technologies to use with plant propagation. Before that, she oversaw brand sales and expansion to Amazon KA, Amazon UK, and Amazon Europe. Meg is definitely an expert on all things Amazon. She's local in Fort Worth, and we're just so excited to have her here today. So, Meg, I will turn it over to you.
Okay, well, thank you. Yeah, I'm really excited to talk. I love selling on Amazon, and I can talk at length about it at the drop of a hat. But I wanted to sort of bring it down because it's a very broad ecosystem. There's all sorts of ways to sell on Amazon, and so I wanted to sort of focus on products and sort of helping you go through the process of deciding if maybe your product is a good fit to sell on Amazon. And just my background, I graduated college with a degree in wildlife and natural resource management, and I actually worked as a wildlife biologist for several years, but it doesn't pay very well, and the economy caused a lot of budget cuts, and it made it hard to make a sustainable income. So I was looking at all sorts of side hustles to make that income, and I discovered Amazon in 2013. And I started selling full time in 2016, and I launched my brand Southside Plants in 2018. And it's been fun. It's been fun ever since. Um, Today we're going to cover. I'm going to do a brief introduction of various ways to sell on Amazon, and these are product based. I know somebody was talking about selling a book on Amazon, and we can talk to that a little bit more with the questions. It's a little bit different if it's a physical book or a book that's printed on demand, but we can talk about that later. And I'm also going to talk about private labels versus brands, common ways that e-commerce coaches and gurus suggest validating a product idea, and then ways I suggest going beyond that. And I also sort of came up with a case study of a product that I looked into to see if this would be a good product to sell on Amazon and my resources. So we will cover that. Okay, so when I first started selling on Amazon, I did retail arbitrage, and that's where you basically buy low locally and sell high nationally. And the example I give is like winter coats. They go on clearance a lot faster here in Texas, and so you can physically go out there with your smartphone, scan it, see if it's what it's selling for on Amazon. You can take it home, prep it, and ship it into the Amazon warehouse, and they'll sell it for you. And that's how I started. And it's a low cost to entry. You just need a smartphone and an Amazon account, which starts at $40 a month. And you can have great margins. You know, I've purchased some really like extremely clearanced items and sold them for much more on Amazon. And it does teach you by a fire hose, all the different like rules and like prep guidelines and all of that. But the cons are big. It's hard to scale. And sometimes, you know, if you find a great clearance item, and then you sell it, like you can't just go back and get that again. And so it is hard to scale. And also it's a ton of junk in your house. And the biggest one for me is decision fatigue, because you're going up to all these different products and you're deciding, okay, like should I scan this? Okay, can I make money? Is this a good product? Will I get in trouble with various brands who are hostile? Like you're making all these decisions. Whereas if you just have a couple different SKUs that you're managing, it's a lot less decision fatigue. The next level is wholesale arbitrage, and that's either finding and building relationships with wholesalers, or you working with an Amazon seller and you selling wholesale to them. And that's sort of the next level. And there's a lot of opportunity, especially if you're more of a people person and you can talk to these brands and figure out their pain points and take care of that for them on Amazon. It also sort of helps with your issues of stocking stability. There's less volatility there. And it's a good way to start scaling, because you can also bring in third-party fulfillment services where you have the product shipped to them and they prep it and send it into Amazon for you. But there's a lot of cons there. And one of them is that it's a lot of the large wholesale brands, they get hit daily with requests to sell their products wholesale. And then you have like problems with pricing, people start dropping their prices, and it's getting a bad name for itself. But I still believe that there's an opportunity here if you look a little bit beyond like Mattel or like all these big brands, and you look at smaller brands. For example, like a little local barbecue sauce brand. Um, then there's private label, and this continues to be a big thing, but this was especially big a couple of years ago. And that's where maybe you go. It's from anything of like selling a generic brand under your brand, or even going to like Alibaba and finding it there and putting your own label on it and selling it under your own label. And this is sort of the next stage above wholesale. Like it's you can scale up a little bit better, and you don't have to necessarily become the manufacturer yourself, which is its own complications. You can focus on selling it. But the cons are you have to, it can get saturated pretty quickly. For example, I don't know if you've ever looked at like foam yoga blocks or garlic presses. There's zillions of different ones on Amazon, and they all look very similar. And so it's like, how do you really stand out when you're selling the exact same thing that everyone else is? And you might have even gotten it from the same factory. And the other problem is, in over 50% of sellers on Amazon today are international, mostly from China. And so when you go to a Chinese factory to find and pick out their product, create this beautiful listing, and you sell your product, this Chinese factory could also do the same thing and sell your exact same product with your stickers on your own listing and sort of take a lot of sales from you. It can get a little bit black hat. And that's sort of one of the problems with the private label. So to get a little bit more specific is private brand. And a lot of the entrepreneurs on this call, you guys are having your own brand with your own product. And that's the product that can be a lot more advantageous than just private label. And there's a lot of pros, like less competition because your product actually has differences from the other products. The other thing is it allows you to be different and go after different customers. The con is it can be harder to find as manufacturer or supplier. For example, I'm trying to work with bringing the specific product to market. It doesn't actually exist right now. And so I'm dealing with like patents or having to really sell the factory on actually making this product for me because they think it's dumb. Like you have to sort of sell the factory on it, and it's going to cost a lot of money because part of how I sell it is I'll be like, well, I'll buy a lot, and they'll be like, okay, well, it's worth our while. And the thing is my biggest pro right here is the harder it is for you to launch the product, that means that it's that hard for someone else to do it. And so if you do it first, then you have a head start on the competition, and you get all the customers while you're there. So there is some benefit for doing the hard thing. And so let's talk about what is the ideal product to sell on Amazon. And here's what the gurus say. And so gurus, like they have, many views on Amazon or very large like followings, but a lot of them sell courses. And so they make more money selling knowledge than they do selling products. And sometimes they're out of date, and sometimes they don't have your best interests at heart because they're selling courses. But a lot of what they say of like, what's the ideal product to sell on Amazon is that it like weighs 1 pound or less. And that's talking about Amazon fees. They charge by how much it weighs and how big it is. And so there are advantages in going for a smaller product. Is not electronic, and that's mainly because there's a lot of quality control issues when you get into electronics. Is smaller than a shoebox. Again, that's the dimensions that they're talking about. Doesn't have many household name brands competing with it. And I think this is pretty important. I gave the example of diapers, but like, if you can already think of the name brands, then that means you're gonna have to spend a lot of marketing dollars to get ahead of these people who already have like a running start. Has less than 5 similar products with over 1,000 reviews. Now that's really specific. Has less than 10 to 15 similar products with over 100 reviews. Has a price point of $20 or above. That's because, Amazon does charge significant fees. And usually, especially when I was doing retail arbitrage, instead of figuring out exactly what the fees were, I would just assume it's 30% of the retail price. And it's like 30 for me, 30 for Amazon, and 30 for the cost of goods sold. You try to 3X it when you're doing retail arbitrage. But with creating your own product, you want to do a little bit more, 4x, 5x, 6x, a little bit more, because you need to have money for marketing and for growing the business. And then they also want you to sell at least 3,000 a month across the top 10 sellers. And I disagree with some of what they're saying, because one, it's just comparing your product to what's already out there. And I think that there's a lot of opportunities with products that aren't on Amazon yet. And so I think that this is short-sighted. They're saying, just go look at what's out there and see how it fits in. And that can be helpful, but that's not always where the money is. Like, it's just being innovative is definitely advantageous for selling on Amazon. And some of them are really expensive. If you're trying to go up against, if you want your product to right out the gates sell 3,000 units a month, that's extremely expensive. Like, if you have a new product, like you need to be able to scale and grow and handle that supply and demand chain as you go up. So when you go for a really like tough product, it can cost a lot of money up front, and you might not be ready to do that for your first product on Amazon. Okay, I'm not a guru, but these are sort of what I look for. Is I like to look for products that have no competitors on Amazon, or very few. And I also like to look for populations that aren't being marketed towards. And we'll talk about that more. The existing competitors have weakness. And we'll talk about the weaknesses in the case study. Okay, I don't like super heavy or bulky, because it does cost a lot more with Amazon FBA. And it also costs a lot more with storage, like where I'm storing it, whether it's like storing at the factory and then it's on the boat, it takes up more of the container, or storing it at another warehouse, or in my house. I don't like a lot of junk in my house. And so that's something that goes into that. And then has a low minimum order quantity that I can test for minimal investment. So one really cool thing about selling on Amazon is you can send in 1 unit. You can send in 3 units. I recommend sending in 18 units if you're just starting, because 18 units, they all go to one warehouse. If you send in less than that, then they'll be split up into many warehouses, so it costs more. But like, you could really test your daughter's product just with like 20 units, and you could just see how it does for very little investment. And so some products, especially commodities, they're being sold by factories by like the cartload or the ton, and that sort of pushes me away unless I know that I have a good product. Okay, let's talk about when there are no competitors on Amazon. So there are over 100 million Americans with Amazon Prime memberships. That's most households. That's also such a large number. It's hard to fathom just how many people that is. It's very vast. And so the cool thing is that even the weirdest products, you can get enough people to look at it. Like, enough people, if you're interested in the tiniest, most strangest thing, there's at least a couple thousand other people who have Amazon Prime memberships that are also interested in it. And that's opportunity, these micro niches. And that's like, this would be my TED Talk right here, is that like Walmart and Target and Home Depot and big box stores, they're going for what fixes most people's problem. And then they ignore everyone else. They're dealing with locals. So they're just looking at their very local area, and which seems very homogenous, because they're looking at the majority of the local area, and that's who they're trying to serve. And they're ignoring everyone else. And everyone else has to go online to find that solution. So there's other advantages of that, is that they will also pay more. If you can't find anything locally and you find it on Amazon, you're willing to spend a couple extra dollars to have it shipped to your house. And they also have a few other options. If they can't find it locally, they probably can't find that many options online. So they're going to look at your option. And it's also easier to build a brand when you're building a brand around something that's unique versus something that's what everyone else has. And let's talk a little bit more about these like micro niches. I highlighted them in blue, but just like to start thinking about when everyone's going this direction to serve it, well, who's left out? And for example, products designed with for girls, many of whom are undiagnosed with autism. They still have their specific problems that they have adults and caregivers looking to solve, but a lot of these solutions are being targeted towards boys. Family caregivers, they're like always ignored. And they are trying to make their life easier by shopping on Amazon. Additionally, elderly people, octogenarian, I have sold, when I was doing retail arbitrage, I specifically targeted geriatric products because I knew there was a huge supply of huge population of people shopping for them, but everyone else was ignoring it because it's not sexy. Like, you want to go after like clearance Barbies. You don't want to go after catheters. I get that, but there's opportunity there. Toys for boys who love horses. Most of them are targeted towards girls. Products designed around the sexual needs of the elderly. And here's one, if it makes you feel uncomfortable, then that's a product opportunity because a lot of people are ignoring it. Trash panda treats for people who like feeding all the animals, not just wild birds. Have you seen on YouTube how many people are feeding like hot dogs to raccoons? Like there's way too many YouTube videos on it and way too few products directed towards feeding raccoons off your back porch, something healthier than hot dogs. Heaven-facing chili pepper pots for people who are getting serious about Szechuan cooking, but don't understand the labels at the local Asian market or can't find it locally. And this is me, and that's the case study that I built is around this product. Flashcards for high school students and adults. Most flashcards on Amazon are just targeted towards middle school students or sight words and multiplication. There's a whole huge number of subjects that could be covered by flashcards, and there's a huge population that might be interested in that. And that's the thing, who will buy that? A lot of people, because we're dealing with 100 million customers. And if a fraction of that is still a ton of people, and you can actually sort of look for where these people are before you create a product for them. You can look for these populations of people online or in census reports. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about the competitors have weaknesses. And weaknesses are, they have products that aren't sold to FBA. So many people, especially with Amazon Prime, they are willing to spend more to deal with Fulfilled by Amazon. And that's because Amazon has a great infrastructure for getting the product to their house extremely quickly. They also have excellent customer service. And Amazon will give the buy box, that's the where you can click buy now. They'll give that more likely to someone who has Fulfilled by Amazon versus someone who's just fulfilling it merchant fulfilled from their own warehouse. Other problems is when you see a competitor where they have tons of negative reviews. Well, what are those negative reviews saying? Maybe there's a product opportunity there where you can see oh, well, people don't like this product because of XYZ. Well, I'll fix it with my product and I'll get those customers. Listing needs improvement. And we'll talk about this quite a bit because this is something very cheap that you can do to have your product stay apart from the rest. Pricing opportunities. Sometimes you'll see something where everyone's selling the same product and it's super cheap and you're like, well, what if I offer a higher quality product? Or what if people just assume I'm offering a higher quality product just because I'm selling it for more? You can do that. You can do that on Amazon. Competitors are not using sponsored ads. And I know a lot of people get afraid about sponsored ads, but it is a great tool to use. Okay, let's talk about the Facing Heaven chili pepper. And you can see I got a picture of you, and that is why it's called Facing Heaven, because it's sort of growing upside down compared to other chili peppers. So I got this book down here, Every Grain of Rice, several years ago, and I cook a lot of recipes out of it, including one for mapo tofu. It's a type of tofu dish, and it calls for Facing Heaven chili pepper, okay? And I can't find it anywhere. I've gone to a lot of grocery stores and I can't understand what the labels are, or I'll bring it home and it's more it's an arbol chili that's being sold, it's too spicy. And so I'm like, okay, if I can't find it, other people can't find it. And let me see how many other people there are. So here's a couple other cookbooks that use Szechuan foods and Szechuan ingredients in the Facing Heaven chili pepper. And here we got, they're ranked 9,000, 10,000 in books. And when I talk about rank with Amazon, number one is the best, okay? But it's a rank in the category. So out of the 6 million books on Amazon, this product is ranked 9,000. That's a pretty good rank for a book or a cookbook. And so it's selling 300 to 400 a month. And I did this one, the Jian Famous Foods. This one just came out this year or last year, and it's ranked 3,500 in books, and it's selling 500 a month. The book that's ranked like in the low hundreds, selling thousands a day. Like it sort of exponentially goes up. I also looked at like YouTube, and I found that this like first video has like over 3,000 reviews of a recipe using Face in Heaven chili pepper. So like, okay, there's like other customers out there. Let's see what the competitors are on Amazon. So I went to Amazon and I looked up Facing Heaven chili pepper, and there's 3. That's it. There's only 3 reviews. There's only 3 products, and they all like show up on the very first page because that's it. There's no more. If I looked up yoga blocks, there would be like 12 pages, okay? But for Facing Heaven chili pepper, there's only 3 competitors. Let's look at them a little bit closer. This is the competitor number 1. Okay, and they are selling, they have variations right here, which means that they have an option for ghost chili, the medium hot, and the mild. And so across these 3 variations, they're selling like 4,000 a month. They also, you can see that they have some pretty decent photos. They are filling out all their photos, and they're, you know, high resolution. They don't have, their bullet points are pretty short. They're not using up all the keywords they could be. And their top part is pretty short too, their title. And I bring these up because title is number 1 for Amazon algorithm. That's what they're gonna look at, followed by the bullet points. They do not, Amazon doesn't algorithm, it doesn't look at the description. You can leave that like blank. Customers look at it, but bullet points, title, those are key. So looking further down on the listing, they have enhanced brand content. That means that they have a trademark and they have filed it with Amazon, and they can put a lot more stuff, like a lot more pictures on it. If you want to see an example of a great listing with tons of enhanced brand content, you should go look at Instapot. They have like videos, and they compare their different products. And they have some really high quality pictures, but the thing is, you can see obvious cultural errors. You know, the over 50% of Amazon sellers are from outside America. You can tell because they are talking about being possessed by spicy colleagues. They didn't have like an American look this over and say, well, that, you know, that's not the right like way to say that. The other thing is they have a healthy Keepa chart, and Keepa is a tool. Keepa is a tool to show the rank over time. So remember when I said there was a rank of like 3,500? That's just a one data point in time. Over every day, the rank adjusts based on who's selling, who isn't selling, who goes up, who goes down. And so when you see nice like divots like this, you're seeing that this is a product that's like down closer to the bottom where there's like tons of like variations versus like way up on top where they might only have like a bloop here and there. And so you can see like they're selling hundreds and hundreds a month. Okay, let's look at competitor number 2, the pickled chili. And this is the only competitor that actually has Facing Heaven chili pepper in the title. And like it's a ridiculous price. It's $30. Most likely at the Asian grocery market, this would sell for like $6 or $7 or less. So somebody is obviously like jacking up the price on it. They also have bad photos. You can see there's only 3, and bad bullet points. They're extremely short. And you can see with the Keepa chart, see this like pink line right here? This is showing the price of the product over time. And you can see that like at the lowest point, it's sub $20, and the rank actually picks up because more people are buying it at that price point, which makes sense. I mean, $30 for a pickled pack of chilies is a lot, you know? So, okay, let's look at competitor number 3, 52 USA. They're selling pretty decently, 700 a month, and they have 190, well, I guess they have 205 now. So they're getting more and more reviews. And they have some good packaging. You can see these photos over here, but it's very cheap looking packaging. There's an opportunity to have like really aesthetically pleasing packaging there. They have bad bullet points, they're really short. and the title is pretty short, and it doesn't mention facing heaven in the product. I had to go down and look at customer questions in Amazon to see that someone's like, yes, these are facing heaven chili peppers. So, and they have a decent, you can see what they're doing with the line is that they started this back in November. They started this at $7 and they've been slowly increasing the price. And that's a strategy where you can come in sort of cheap, get a bunch of sales and reviews, and bring your price back up to your competitors. Okay, so let's look. So as we look at all these competitors, they aren't using the keyword facing heaven chili pepper. They have some poor photos. They have short bullet points and titles, and they have a ridiculous price point. So this is an opportunity. This is like, okay, I could stick in the same exact thing with better everything and do decently well. And the upsides is that I don't have very many competitors and they have weaknesses. And I met very few competitors, which means we could be on the front page for that search term like today. Like we wouldn't have to fight our way up the ranks like you would for yoga blocks. And there's a healthy customer base for it. It's also a really lightweight product, and we could ship it by air if we need to restock. It wouldn't be too expensive, and the FBA fees are going to be low, and it's inexpensive. It's just an inexpensive product. Commodities are, and it's a chili. Okay. So if we had the strategy, we could launch with better packaging, better bullet points, and mention the keywords, launch at $7.99. Our cost of goods, $1 to $1.50. This is conservative. We could get it a lot lower than that. The Amazon referral fee and fulfillment fee for this item would be $4.90. So our profit would be about $1.59 a unit. And so the first month sale, I would expect 15, and I'd expect 250 by month 6. And this is sort of looking at the Keep It chart, looking at how many are selling overall and my own experience, and 400 a month by month 12 and 600 a month by 18. So the takeaway is like, that's a product opportunity. Just sort of looking at it, you're like, yeah, I could like throw that up there, have everything better, and I'd make money. Like that would be pretty easy to do. It's not going to rocket you to wealth. It's one product, and you'd probably be making, $500 a month within a year. But like, you would also gain suppliers where you could start expanding to other chilies and other products and sort of build your brand from there. Maybe start a website with awesome content about how to make your own mapo tofu with this facing heaven chili pepper. Okay, then we look at some of the downsides. It's grown overseas in China. That's the only place you can get it. And you'll have to either go there yourself or find a sourcing agent or look on Alibaba. I don't recommend that. I recommend a sourcing agent to sort of find a supplier for it. There's also possible quality control issues, just like with any chili pepper. Some batches, like some harvests, are going to be a lot spicier than others. They're fragile. They contain seeds, and seeds can be regulated more stringently, and it expires. It's a low price point. There's a reason the guru is they'd like you to go for something priced $20 or higher, because you have a little bit more net margin on a unit. At the same time, sometimes you can't afford that and you want to start low. And the other problem is this is not a hard product. Anybody else can, like I'm telling everyone here, all 10 of you could go out and like put up your own face in heaven chili pepper and totally saturate the market. Like you'd all be selling the same thing. So eventually competition could catch up, especially if you do well. They like to pick off people who are doing well. Okay, so I got a couple case studies together like some of you bravely submitted your products for me to look at, and I'm gonna be so nice because I really appreciate you doing this. It's so much easier to like see it when you see the whole picture versus just like picking one product out of the air and going after it. So I really appreciate that. And the first one is Mother Love, and they have this chocolate protein for lactating women. And they have you can see this is a great listing. Look at how long this title is, how long the bullet points are. They have tons of excellent pictures. They're really small right here, but there's some infographics, and it's just a really well done listing. And I do have a couple of suggestions on how to make this listing even better. Is one, with 8 reviews, you can still sign up for the early reviewer program. It is where Amazon will solicit reviews on your behalf from customers in exchange for a small, like they'll give like a couple dollar gift card for them leaving a review. And it's a totally above board way to get reviews from your customers. And they don't charge $60 until the first review hit, and they'll do it up until you get at least 5 reviews. And they'll do it for a year. So you might get 0 and not spend any money. You might get 1 for $60, but oftentimes you can get a lot more reviews that way. And I would definitely sign up for that because it expires when you hit a certain threshold of reviews. I think it might be like 11 or 14. The other thing is your first 2 photos, they aren't fully complying with Amazon's image requirements, and you might be getting dinged for that. Amazon requires that the first product photo is on a completely white background, and this like sort of shaded background isn't helping you. So I would remove that. They also don't like frames. That's just Amazon. They don't like frames. So the second photo which has the green frame on that, I would take that out. The other thing is, and this is huge, make the product take up more of the space in the photo. See how like this one over here, the Upspring, their product is taking as much as they can possibly take up of the canvas, and it converts better. I could like make up a number and say it converts X amount better, but it's probably out of date. It really converts better. So that would be my first thing that I would do, is like I'd make it take up more space. And also you can offer a small coupon. Like it'll have like a little green thing that says like $1 off. And what's cool about that is it really, people like seeing badges like Amazon's Choice or coupon. So it really catches the eye. It also shoves everyone else below you a little down. So, you know, if you're above the fold, you're shoving everyone else down a little bit further away. But yeah, you have a great listing. Okay, Presoria. So this is another Tech Fort Worth person who was brave enough to give me their listing. I really appreciate that. And they have a great title right here, and they have great bullet points. And they have a lot of reviews, especially in sort of something so competitive as the health and beauty category or in the supplement category. Those are very competitive places, and it costs a lot of money to like fight your way up to the top, to the first page. And so you're there, you're getting there, and you're getting a lot of reviews. So it's just, I think that you're going to continue seeing more success as you keep going, because you're already doing what you need to be doing. And also a lot of people experience bumps in sales when they hit 100 reviews. The next bump usually comes at 1,000 reviews. So that's exciting. I do have a couple suggestions. One is consider selling in Canada. Now, I don't know your product. Maybe you're disqualified from selling in Canada. I don't know. But I noticed that you aren't for sale in Canada. And Canada has 10% of the United States population, but they account for closer to 20% of the sales for the same products. And that's because there's less competition there. And Amazon's just rapidly growing. We're already at 100 million Prime members here. And Canada is not that close to that level of saturation. So they're rapidly growing. And so it's like a pretty easy way to just like, you just like toggle the switch on your selling account. And then I have a great suggestion on Amazon Canada accountant for the tax issues. And you can like be off to the races and be selling like, 20% more of what you're already selling. The other thing is, and this is super creepy, I looked it up, you have trademarks and you aren't using enhanced brand content, which you should be. You can use enhanced brand content, and you can add even more photos, even more testimonials, all of that. The one thing that I was considering is like, I looked up the Spanish translation for psoriasis, and it's psoriasis, but without the first P. But when I switched over to look at your listing in Spanish, it doesn't change that. And so what I'm wondering is maybe you should consider adding some more to your back end search terms in your listing, if you should consider adding like some Spanish words. And that's good for anybody. If you want to add some more Spanish words to the back end of your listing, that's a good thing to do. The other thing is your fourth image is this one, and it's I mean, come on, you're selling on Amazon. They have more like a 90-day money back guarantee. Like you could switch this out for something that's a little bit more informative. And the other thing is like I checked out your social media account, and you have like such like your company has like a really nice like personality, and it's compared to like your Amazon, your Amazon is very like clean and austere almost. But I think that you can really set yourself apart as this American company who knows the needs of your American customers, and maybe bring a little bit of that soul into your listing. Because a lot of your competitors, they're not necessarily based in America. A lot of sellers certainly aren't. The other thing is you have an opportunity. I don't know if your products sell well together, but you can do virtual bundles where you can sell 2 of your products for a slightly reduced fee, and Amazon will pick and pack both of them and send them out together. And that can be a way to just like bring a little bit more juice out of that lemon. Okay, so where to go from here is if you have a product in mind, like check out your competition, see how strong their listing is, see how you would make it better, see their negative reviews, and see how like you would prevent them. So many negative reviews are like people being like, I thought I was getting 2, but it's only 1. In your listing, just say, this is only 1. And then maybe you could like head off a bunch of negative reviews. If you don't have a product yet, start thinking about these customers. For example, like in the gardener here, think about the different ways that you would want to meet those specific customers. Don't just go for all of gardening, go like into more of a micro niche and narrow it down. And if you're already selling on Amazon and you want like someone with a lot of opinions who will still be really nice to look at your listing, you can email me. Devin will get you connected, and I will be happy to like sort of look at it and be like, oh, watch out for that guy, or no, there's an opportunity here, but you should be like going after this population of customers. And that's where my wildlife management degree actually helped, is I can look at populations, even if they're human. And some of the resources I mentioned, the Keep a Chart, it's not free, but it's not that expensive. I think it's less than $20 a month. And you can start looking at your competitors and how their rank is changing over time. If you are someone who's like, this sounds great, I would love my products to sell on Amazon, but I don't want to do that, which a lot of people are like that, you can talk to somebody who will be happy to sell your products for you. I recommend this person from albertmountain.com. If I were to like, he would, if I were to become incapacitated, he would be the one who would sell my products. That's how much I trust this guy. Software mentioned for finding products on Amazon, Helium 10, Jungle Scout. These are software that they'll help you. You can put in all this like data points of like, I want a product that sells this many a month and it weighs this much or less. Like you can put in all these things and they'll spit back all these products that are doing that. The thing is a lot of people use them and then they all start selling the same product. Like they all spot the same opportunity at the same time. And then they're like, perfect. Like, and 6 months later, you see a zillion new products where there weren't any. But they still can be helpful in figuring out other things like Helium 10. They have this tool called the Misspellinator. And so like you know, you could put in your top keyword like psoriasis and it'll spit out all the misspellings of that, which is handy. And other resources, if you are like, whoa, I didn't know I could just start selling on Amazon with my smartphone. I want to know more. There's a lot of good beginner stuff out there. Just keep aware of the date. Amazon's a rapidly changing marketplace. And so what was fine in 2017 could be completely against terms of service nowadays. So if you're looking at YouTube videos, go for stuff that's more recent. Ebooks, look at stuff that's more recent. There's several great Facebook groups, but you learn by doing. So like just like read, watch, listen, and then go do it and go sell that stuff. Oh, and yes, and I really want someone to sell Facing Heaven chili peppers because I'm still looking for it. I'm still looking for a good one. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Meg.